Good morning, kids. I see some of us have joined here, and I think I've admitted everybody. Hopefully, you can hear me okay. Let's see. Yep, I see some people here. Good. Um, and there's more that I'm admitting as we speak here. So, this is very informal. I've got you muted right now, just while I make a couple announcements, but I'll unmute you in a second because the first thing I want to see is if you have any questions about the boycott activity. Several of those have been turned in already, but if you have any final questions, that's fine, um, because then you can still submit them yet today. I'm assuming by now, and I sent an email about this out this morning, but I'm assuming by now that all of you know that the school has indeed uh, been closed for the remainder of the year, except, of course, for distance learning. The remainder of the year will be distance learning sessions. And not the best way to have school, of course, and not the way that I want to do it, of course. And I feel bad for our seniors in particular who are missing out of their end of high school career events. But I also feel bad. I feel bad for kids who are involved in a lot of things, whether it be the musical or band performances or athletics. Baseball and track goes on in the spring, and just feel bad for those kids because particularly the seniors, I guess, but all kids because you've only got a short time in your life to do those things, and it's unfortunate that we have to miss out on it. But I think the leadership of Governor DeWine has been very good through all this. I think he's done a nice job, and I think some other governors across the country have done a nice job. And I think they're listening to the experts, and I think they're doing what it takes to save lives and beat this thing. And hopefully by the fall, it'll all be over with and school will be back to normal. We'll see. They mentioned the possibility of doing some type of blended learning coming back in the fall, coming back in gradual steps. So we'll see. Okay, I'm gonna leave you muted just a little bit longer, and hopefully you can see my screen. Hopefully I've got everything set up correctly. Please tell me if I don't once we get going here. But I wanted to ask you just one more time if you have any questions about the Cesar Chavez boycott activity. So let's see here. Oops, that's somebody's assignment. Sorry about that. Let me just scroll down here and click on it. So some different posts lately. This is just an informational post about the coronavirus that I thought was pretty good. You might want to read through that. That is not an assignment, guys. There's your research project. I'll record this Zoom for anybody who wants to view it later. And so I'm going to click on this activity. A lot of you have already turned it in. I started grading some about an hour ago. Let me just remind you that there's a reading here, and there's also a recording of me explaining things here if you're having a hard time figuring some things out. And then these are our questions, right? So the first page is questions about the reading, and then the second page is you coming up with your own boycott and addressing those questions. Okay? All right, I'm going to go ahead and unmute you just in case you have any questions. If you don't, because you're good with this, that's fine. I'm then going to move on to explaining your next two assignments and talking about those briefly. Okay? So now when I unmute you, just do me a favor, stay muted mute yourself unless you want to say something, because there's a lot of interference when everybody is talking all at once. Okay? So I'm going to unmute everybody and see if you have any questions. If you don't, that's fine. Then I'll mute you again while I talk about the next two assignments, and then see if you have questions about those. Okay, so I'm going to unmute everybody here. Okay, so does anybody have questions about the Cesar Chavez boycott activity? Good morning, by the way, to everyone. Does anybody have any questions about the boycott activity? No questions out there? I'll dramatically pause here. One other thing to say about it, please remember that this is the first assignment of the fourth quarter. Okay, so we're in the fourth quarter now. Okay, and you may have to do some research on the second part. Don't forget that. Okay, one mistake I'm noticing some people making on the first question as I started grading them is they're not giving me two examples of a boycott. So think about that. One other thing I'll say about it is if I graded it this morning, took some points off, and you want to resubmit, look at the feedback and you can do that. Okay.
Wait,
Yep.
um, on mine I only put one example of a boycott. Are
Right.
we required to put two?
Well, it is asking for examples, so I would like you to
I
push.
guess I didn't see that.
Yeah. And if you think about it, in American history, there's two really popular examples of boycotts. Okay. Um, so that might help you. I don't want to give you the answer. There's one you should know that we covered recently, but there's another really famous example of a boycott in American history, kind of early in the nation's history, if you know what I'm saying. So if you think about it, that should give you that one. And then there are others you could look up online, of course. I did have a couple kids put down a modern day boycott, but they weren't like specific. Like the answers were kind of like someone could boycott Nike for this. And so my question was, um, did Nike actually have a boycott? Like, did you find an actual example here? So, yeah. Whenever there's plural of a question, guys, I'm going to expect you to at least give me two. Okay.
Wait, so on the other questions about like what are you going to boycott and
Mhm.
like how would you organize the boycott and stuff?
Right.
Um you have to provide an example like if it is something that has been boycotted already, do you have to talk about that?
Um, well, no, no, because no, for the second one, I want you to research a company that you think should be boycotted and tell me how you would do it. So for this part, it doesn't have to be one that's carried out. You're planning one here. For
Okay, that's what I was thinking, but you're
yeah.
saying something about so.
Well, for this first question, I want examples of ones that have been carried out. Does that make sense? And then for
Yeah, for that one,
yeah,
but
okay,
not
good.
like the one where you're making your own.
Well, you're making up your own, but it should be, you should have found something that you feel should be
Yeah.
boycotted. Yep.
Mhm.
Good questions.
Okay.
I love questions. Anybody else?
I sort of have a question.
I might have an answer. What do you got?
Yeah. So for number 4,
Right.
um,
First
hmm?
first page.
Oh, second page,
Okay.
I think.
Yep. Yep. What about it?
Oh wait, no, it is the first number 4. Sorry,
That's all right.
my bad.
That's all right, Sophia. What do you got, kid?
So on ours, we got a point off because um, it says that I'm not really sure why we got this point off. Um, should I like read you my answer or something?
You can redo your answer. Uh, if I remember correctly, I think you were saying that the federal government was siding with the boycott for number four. And I think the evidence indicates that that's not the case, that they
Because
actually that they were actually working against it.
Oh,
The,
I didn't see that.
the FBI
yeah,
was, if you look at it, the FBI was arresting people for flimsy reasons. They arrested a person for handing out pamphlets at an Andy Warhol event. And then the military was still buying grapes. And if the military is still buying grapes, then the grape companies are still making money. So that's hurting the boycott. And that's why the midshipmen who supported the boycott threw them overboard. Okay. So yeah,
okay,
if you want to clean up that answer, you can, and
okay.
just resubmit it. Okay.
Thank you.
Yep, no problem. Anybody else? Okay, I'm going to mute you again, kids. And but by the way, I do have the chat activated. So if a question pops into your beautiful brains, go ahead and you can go ahead and type it on the chat, and I'll try and deal with that even while you're muted. So I'm going to mute everybody and just talk about. I'm actually going to talk about two upcoming assignments because I'm only doing one Zoom session a week. What I want to do every week from here on out is one Zoom session a week, one lecture a week, or a quiz or test. And so that's my instruction, right? There's only 2 days I can do instruction right now. So the way I can do instruction is lecture, Zoom, or a test or quiz. Okay. And then you'll have 2 to 3 assignments a week. Okay. And I'm trying to spread out your assignments more and reduce the stress of you and me. Okay, so I'm going to mute you while I explain these next two assignments. And so I posted this one this morning. This one I think will be pretty easy for you, but of course, ask me for help if you can't find something. I think the questions are pretty straightforward. I actually got this from the PBS website. PBS documentaries are fantastic. This one focuses on the Equal Rights Amendment, and what PBS does a really good job of is explaining several different viewpoints. So that's what I love about their documentaries. The first video is only about 2 minutes, and the questions, I think the answers are pretty clear in there, but once again, let me know. And what's nice about having a video question, right, is you can kind of, you can scroll back and forth, right? You can, move the cursor back and forth and listen to a narration again. So hopefully you can find the answer. Now the second video is a little bit longer. That's 10 minutes, okay? And that's going to deal with opposition to the Equal Rights Amendment. And I think those questions are pretty straightforward too. 7 might have a few different answers to it that
How many questions are there in total?
there's just 7.
Okay.
And there's 2 points a question. So this is a 14-point assignment. Okay.
Thanks.
So 7 might have a few different answers to it, but as long as you demonstrate, it's towards the end of that video, but as long as you kind of demonstrate that you watched the video, you should be fine there. Okay. And you can resubmit corrections. I'm going to continue to allow you guys to do that. Due dates are flexible right now. This I've got due at the end of the day on Thursday. But if you need more time on Friday, remember Friday's a catch-up day. So if you need to finish it on Friday, because you're actually going to do 2 things for me on Thursday, all right? Because I'm also going to post my lecture, and I am requesting that kids comment or ask a question about the lectures, just to encourage you to listen to them, okay? And remember, guys, those lectures, sometimes you can multitask. You can listen to those while you're doing the dishes or something. So, so just be aware that you don't necessarily have to sit the whole time. Depending on how long the lecture is. I know some of them have been long. Okay. My lecture on
Wait.
Thursday. Oh, yes.
Sorry, I have a question.
Yeah.
Are we required to take notes during those? Because I take notes and like sit through the whole thing.
I think that's awesome. I think that's awesome.
Are we required to do that? Because I kind of assumed, because we do those journal things.
Well, I'm not requiring you to keep a notebook right now, James, just because
Okay.
how am I going to collect it? I mean, I guess I could have you type it and collect it, but then you're just retyping the notes I'm sending to you, so it just feels awkward. Now,
Okay.
I think it's awesome if you're doing that because you're going to learn better that way. But all I'm requiring you to do is listen to the lectures and then make a comment or question about them at the end of it. That's
I'll
it.
still do that. I just wasn't clear on whether or not that was required because my mom just said, "Oh, take notes because you take notes anyway, right?" And I was like,
Well,
"Yeah, okay."
well, I'm not going to argue against that, kiddo. I mean, because you probably do. I mean, here's the thing. When I prepare those lectures, what am I doing? I'm taking notes on your text and I'm taking notes on, other stuff I look up about the information in your text. So that's what I'm doing. I mean, basically all I'm presenting to you guys is the notes that I took. I mean, it is a good way to still learn, information you read about is to take notes on it. But all I'm requiring you to do is comment on it, and the comments have been great. The questions have been good, and it's for me, it's kind of nice to respond to them and have a little bit of back and forth. Although I do prefer the class discussions. The one advantage of this that I have noticed, though, is I do hear from just about everybody. There are a few kids who haven't been responding, but 97% of my honor students have been responding to these because you guys are great kids, and it is nice that I'm hearing from everybody because sometimes during class discussions, you know, I was shy in high school. Not everybody likes to speak up during class discussions. So one positive of this is I'm hearing just about everybody. There's a few kids who aren't, but just about everybody is giving me a comment or question, and that's nice. Something I can respond to. Okay, so hopefully this ERA amendment, Equal Rights Amendment, uh, assignment won't be too difficult for you, and it's not due until the end of the day, Thursday. But there's 2 things you should do on Thursday: get that done and respond to my lecture. Okay. Oh, here's another person joining right now. Okay. All right. So I'm going to move on to another assignment that I haven't posted yet, and I will not be posting until Thursday, but it will not be due until the following Thursday. So that's,
Wait,
yes,
can I ask a question?
sure.
I didn't see when this is due.
The
This one that you're on
This
right now.
one is not due, and I believe I put it in the post. This one is not due until the end of the day on Thursday.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so I'm going to talk about one more assignment that is not due until a week from Thursday. I just want to kind of tell you about it, and I'm sure I'll include more explanation in the future. Okay, so this assignment is, view this as your test essay for this unit. Okay. All right. So next week, I got a chat here. Give me a second, kids. Oh, that's a good idea, Kaylin. That's a good suggestion. Kaylin is a good chat suggestion if you guys want to view that. Okay. So view this as your test essay for this unit. So you're going to have another quiz next Thursday. A quiz is, right? And last time I gave you a couple written responses. This is your written response. If we were still having class, we would have had a bracket challenge. I don't know if you remember, but we did a bracket challenge on U.S. assassinations. And for me, that was a lot of fun. Hopefully it was some fun for you guys too. People got bonus points, all that stuff. I would have done one just to be a little bit more creative with Watergate. I mean, I guess we're dealing with some dark topics here. We dealt with assassinations, and now this one we're dealing with scandals. But just, I was going to try and be more creative with talking about Watergate and do a bracket challenge. And it would have taken a few days, but hopefully it'd have been kind of cool and fun. Unfortunately, we're not together, so I can't do a bracket challenge. So what I'm having you do is, this is just going to be your test essay for this unit. So view it as that. This is your test essay. And what I've done is I've given you a thesis statement. Basically, you're going to fill in the blanks here. Okay, you're going to choose one of the presidential scandals from the list provided. Okay, and you're going to complete this thesis statement, and then you have to support it. Okay, now so you're going to support this in an essay, Times New Roman, 12-point, double space. Sources should be provided in MLA format at the end of the essay. This is a test essay, so you do not have to do parenthetical citation. Okay. I may have you turn this in on turnitin.com though. I'll let you know. If I get that set up, I'll let you know. Just because you could possibly pull an essay off the internet here. You know, I don't think any of you guys would cheat, but it can be some tempting for some students. So this one I may have you turn in on Google Classroom and turnitin.com. I'll let you know. Okay, but it's not due until 4:30:20 by the end of the day. So what I've done,
Does this have to be like a 5-page essay like we're
no,
trying to do right now?
no, this is just 1 to 2. You can
This
do
is
this.
just
Yeah, think of it as like maybe like filling out a soul form. That makes sense.
okay.
Okay,
Is
I
the
need you to prove this thesis and address the questions.
is the
Right?
research paper due like at the end of this week or
The research paper is not due until the end of the year.
oh. I
Okay,
thought that okay. I thought that was due on like Friday.
no, it's not due till the end of the year. Read those posts carefully, James. Okay,
Yeah, okay.
we're doing the research paper in stages. This is
Okay.
just your test essay.
Okay.
Okay? This is not, this is not a research paper. This is a test essay, but of course it's open book, open note, so you can look stuff up. All right. So what I've got is a list of 15 scandals in presidential history. Okay, and I like doing assignments like this because it gives kids options. Now, maybe all of you will just choose Watergate because I am going to lecture on that on Thursday. So you'll have a lot to use for that. And if all of you choose Watergate, that's fine because that's what this chapter is about. But if you want to choose a different one, you do have some options. And what I've done is tried to pick scandals from throughout the United States history. Like these first two are in the beginning of our nation's history. Let's see, these are all shortly after the Civil War. This one is turn of the century, 1898 through 1902, those years in there. This one is World War I. This is 1920s. And then we fast forward a little bit to the 60s, early 70s, Vietnam era, right? With Johnson and Nixon. And of course, a lot of you may do Watergate because I am going to give you notes on that, and that's totally fine. The 80s is, we got a scandal that happened in the 80s with President Reagan here. 90s with Bill Clinton, early 2000s. And then if you want to deal with current events, you can look at the scandals that have plagued the Trump administration. Okay. So you've got some options here to choose. Once again, if all you decide to do Watergate, that's fine, but maybe you'd rather do something else. Okay. So it's 1 to 2 pages. Support that thesis statement. Give me your sources. Textbook can be a source. My lecture can be a source. Okay. And then anything you look up online. All right. Any questions about that? I don't think I muted you guys anyway. I must have forgot to do that because James has been asking questions. But do you have any questions about this assignment, the Equal Rights Amendment assignment, or once again, the Cesar Chavez boycott activity? Any questions, kids?
Sorry for asking questions like
I like it,
over
James.
and over again. I just I know I'm gonna forget them, so I want to ask them like right away.
What do you-
Sorry.
Well, sometimes when someone's asking questions, it helps the other kids. So I appreciate it. So what do you got? Oh, you don't have any more? You're just apologizing for the others?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if you guys read Kaylin's suggestions here, but this was pretty good on the chat. Something I like to do rather than take notes during the lectures is just jot down ideas that I would like to talk or ask about in my comment. That's a great idea. That's a great idea. And I can tell a lot of you have done that because you've had some pretty insightful, well thought out comments. So that's good. That's good. And that may not be, you guys responding to my lectures may not be the favorite thing you've done during this distance learning, but I think for me it is because I feel like I'm teaching you directly with responses and stuff. So, all right. Any other questions or concerns? All right. So, go ahead.
Is there an exact due date that the research paper is due?
Let me go to my handout and make sure I don't give you the wrong date here, Josh, man.
All right,
And I may be revising these now that the governor has announced closure for the rest of the year, right? I kind of had to be a little bit flexible with it because I wasn't sure if we were going back. And I am going to do my Zoom next week will be mostly about this. Okay.
Right.
Right now, I think I've got it due June 1st.
All right, thank you.
Now, here's the thing, guys. That may be the day I end the course with you. So you guys might be done early, right? So like June 1st, you're done with honors too. The reason why I'm making those papers due June 1st is because I need time to grade them. It's going to take me longer to grade those, and I got to have my grades done on time. So now notice I'm saying May, right? My bosses may tell me I can't do that. But if I'm allowed, I may just say, hey, you're done with your paper, and I'm going to give you 2 weeks before that to work on the paper. So because I just want you to have time to just work on that and pester me with questions and send me stuff you want me to proofread and all those things. Okay. So it's just a paper should be a challenge and there should be some stress related to it, but this is an unusual circumstance where I'm not with you every day in class. Giving you time to work on it, I think without other assignments hanging over your head, I think is important. Now,
I just looked at I'm really sorry. I just looked at the list of research paper topics and
Right.
I thought we were just supposed to pick like any one, but I didn't see that doc until now when I realized you were on it. And I didn't realize you gave us a list of them. Did you want us to choose from that list?
Those lists with suggestions. Kids have sent me other stuff like you. They've sent me topics from these eras that they would rather do, and some have been great suggestions. Those are just
So you don't like prefer that we choose off the list? They're just suggestions.
They're just suggestions. Sometimes kids come up with great topics that I didn't think about. And I think your topic is good. Just understand that it's it's kind of a dark topic. You're gonna
I'm good with that.
get some nasty stuff there. Okay,
Yeah.
but you'll handle it fine. You'll do well. Any other questions, kids? And let me just repeat one more time that the reason why I'm having you do this paper is I want to help you guys be good writers and help prepare you for college. So, and I would love to see some of you in my college course in the future if you can squeeze it into your schedule. So we'll see what happens with that. Okay, if there are no more questions, kids, I'm going to go ahead and end this meeting because once again, I've only got the free subscription, so I can only go like a half hour. So once again, I'll try to do one of these every week. Although, well, I've got one planned for next week. Yeah, I can do one next week. Okay, so next week we'll have one of these, and then your presidential scandal test essay is due next Thursday, and you'll also have a quiz on that day. And that'll be multiple choice, maybe some other types of questions, no written responses, but Quizzes has given me more question options than just multiple choice. So maybe I'll throw in a fill in the blank on there or something. We'll see what they have. Okay. I haven't made that up yet. So, all right, kids, take care. Contact me as much as you want. And I hope everybody's staying healthy. And until next time, enjoy the rest of your day. I'm going to end the meeting now.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Mr. Lukasko.
Bye. Thank you.
I love you, Mr. Lukasko.
I love you too. I'll see you.
See ya.